Yo, what is going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we've got a brand new video talking about a stock that could be a millionaire maker, and it is pretty early on, pretty cheap to start, and we'll see where everything goes. But I think that is going to be a great stock, and we all know it by now. I have made a video on it, and it is called Plug Power. This is their chart. This is the chart on Webull. So you can see I have all these lines drawn and a channel here. And basically, it's been pretty, trading within that channel. I mean, it's been just once it gets up, comes back down to challenge the bottom, goes up. We saw even it got up to the top again, came back and it's challenging the bottom. Hopefully we keep trading in the channel. I wouldn't mind that at all. Just keep trading up and to the right. But Plug Power is a company that can really change a lot of things of how the world's gonna work. And the reason I think that is because obviously the hydrogen company, so they produce hydrogen. Right now they make the majority of like hydrogen products. They have like a 95% market share in the hydrogen space. They supply Amazon, Walmart, Home Depot, and GM with hydrogen fuel cells and hydrogen for forklifts in their warehouses and everywhere that they use the forklifts. So that is something they're starting, and they really are going hard, like taking this hydrogen space by storm. They're making acquisitions. They've raised money. Right now they have like $3 billion in cash. I think we can find that in right here in Webull. They have $3.06 billion in cash ready to be deployed and ready to be used to grow the company. And that did come with some pain, where there was a little bit of dilution, which obviously nobody wants, and that's a bad thing. Like dilution for shareholders is always like a negative thing. But in the long term, what really matters is what they do with that money. If they use that money to grow the company and in turn grow the value of the company and make your shares worth more, then they made you more money, even though they diluted your share like ownership. And then a really big thing for Plug is right here, this market cap. Can't highlight it, but it's $18.73 billion, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. It's a large company, so it's not a penny stock. It's not like a super small company. But when you compare it to things like Exxon, which are the gas giants right now, 267 billion. So 18 billion to 267 billion is a big gap. That's a lot of money to be made, a lot of market that can be captured. And when things start going hydrogen, which I think that they're going to, because people are getting very aware of environmental concerns. Companies are all about that and making sure that they're trying to be as green as possible, and in doing so might be getting rid of regular gas and trying to get rid of oil products. And one way to do that is to bring in hydrogen, and Plug right now is the major provider of hydrogen and hydrogen fuel cells. So they have the market on both of those ends. They can give you the fuel cells, they can get you the hydrogen, and they made 2 acquisitions earlier this year of different companies that produce hydrogen and added it to the Plug Power company. So it's something that is they're really chugging forward with this. They're not making money right now, which is a big downside. It's priced to in the future right now, and I think that they're going to explode with profitability. Every single earnings report, they've been upping their profitability expectations by 2024. That's when they expect to be profitable. That's when they expect to obviously stop burning money, start making money, and in turn making the company more valuable. And then some people might say, gas-powered cars, they're going nowhere. That's never changing. It's always going to be there. There are things like this, where it's Canada set to ban gas engine car sales by 2035. So their gas engine car sales will be ended, which basically means it'll be a period of time until they're obsolete, but you won't be able to buy one. And then what's the reason in having one? All the things, all of the industry and industrial stuff is going to be put towards hydrogen, fuel cells, and electric vehicles. So those are what's going to benefit by this. And even this news means there might be a shift earlier before that to where these companies like Tesla, like Workhorse, all these EV makers could be in a good spot. And then as well, Plug could be in a great spot because they don't even have to make the cars. They just provide the fuel and the fuel cells. So if Ford wanted to do a hydrogen car, Plug doesn't need to make that car. They can make the fuel cell and sell it to Ford and then provide the hydrogen to whatever hydrogen stations get put in, probably replacing gas stations, to those. So they can supply hydrogen and give fuel cells to car companies that are making the cars. They don't even have to make cars, which is a very tough business to get into. So they don't have that to worry about. And we've seen the same thing in the US here too. Federal bill seeks to ban gas-powered vehicles by 2035. So I don't know what's so special about 2035, but apparently it's the big date where gas-powered cars are going to be obsoleted. So hydrogen could be something where they transition to. So a lot of people think EVs, and I think that'll be a big part, and that could play a big role. But hydrogen is something that you can transition from gas. So there's a learning curve with EVs. There would be, needing to teach people that you can plug it in when you're at home at night, charge it overnight. If you're going on a road trip, you have to plan out your road trip around, charging stations so that you can charge your car because they don't go as far or they're not as easy to just go on a road trip as a gas-powered car right now where you could just drive and you'll have a gas station at some point. You'll have many that you won't even have to think about. You'll see you're running low on fuel, stop and get gas. So that's going to be something where it's a learning curve. And to kind of help with that, hydrogen could easily just be brought into these gas stations. So you no longer have to plan the road trip. You no longer have to plan around chargers and charging stations and charging station times. You can just drive and it'll be treated the same way. You go to the hydrogen station, you fill up your car with hydrogen, and then you go on your day. So that's why I think hydrogen could really play a big role in regular everyday life, just like we see EVs wanting to do that, as well as EVs cannot address the shipping industry or trucking industry. That's something where you're going to need hydrogen because it's lighter, and the lithium batteries for EVs are very heavy. Weight is a big regulation for shipping and trucking. So hydrogen would be very easy to get that fuel cell in, fuel up with hydrogen, and then you won't have to worry about the weight because hydrogen is very light. So you could not even worry about it and continue as normal. But if you go EV, now you can ship less because you're going to weigh more as a truck, and you get into all of those types of headaches. So it solves that problem for the shipping and trucking industry where EVs can't. And I think that it can take on a regular role with like everyday people, just everyday cars running on hydrogen. It'd be a little bit of a learning curve of how to fill it up and stuff. But I think that that's easier to teach people that than it would be to teach them to plan a road trip around charging stations, charging times, which could take, 20, 30 minutes to charge your car. And if you have a long road trip, that can add a lot of time to a road trip. And maybe people don't want to do that. So just different options, though. You have EVs and hydrogen cars, and I think they can both coexist. And hydrogen cars, Plug doesn't need to worry about that. They don't need to make cars. They can supply the hydrogen and supply the fuel cells. So they don't need to make cars. They just supply everything. And down the line, when Plug gets bigger or something, if they decide that they want to, at some point, if they get to like a way, I mean, we're not even able to see it on like this chart or whatever, but where they get, up to these $500 mark, that's where I'm seeing Plug really is like $500 because Exxon, all of these big companies, like we can see this right here, Exxon, 267 billion. We can look up Chevron, which is 215 billion. Just two big companies, and if you took that into Plug's price, that's where you can get Plug at $500 a share. And once you get up there, you can look at these dividends, 4.97% for Chevron, and then 5.52% for Exxon. So if we get to that point with Plug where there's it just blows up and it's taken over hydrogen, I think it could even reach like 300, 400, 500 billion dollar market cap, because it's going to dominate the space. Whereas like Exxon, Chevron, these companies, they share the space. They have big dominance, but Plug is going to maintain that, 90, maybe if it drops down to 75% dominance, it's still massive, and it can take that, and now you can get paid dividends. So if you get in early and hydrogen turns out to be the future, I think 2030 is a good hydrogen play. If it turns out that way, then Plug could get you a dividend, and then not only did your money grow and it could 10x or 20x, 30x, whatever, now you could also leave it there and collect a check and maybe even get yourself a decent salary for just having those dividends and planning into the future of Plug. And guys, also, just to end this video, we can see right here, this is another big reason I like Plug, is institutionally owned is over 50%. It's 52% institutionally owned, which those are people who are more than likely buying to hold. They plan on this company really taking off in the future, and you can, have a lot more confidence when you have a lot of institutions involved. It's like smart money. You get into that debate and stuff, but it just brings a lot more validity to it. The only thing you got to worry about with Plug is the insane volatility. It's going to be a ride up to the top, and there's going to be great days, and there's going to be terrible days. But overall, I think it's up and to the right, and that's a good way. I think Plug just has a huge future. So guys, that's going to do it for this video. A stock video, a little bit different than what's been on the channel for a while, but this is finance. We're going to do all stocks, crypto, and all of that. But as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.